Imagine a video game where the gameplay is so immersive, players start to gain a perspective on its realism to the point where they could simulate their own behavior, thinking that they are in that world instead of the world around them. Games with realistic gameplay can simulate real-world events and situations to the point where players themselves can evaluate how they can handle it based on their own accords. Some gameplay mechanics include non-linear storylines where the actions of the players can serve consequences, eventually shifting the development of the protagonist. With the character arc of the protagonist in mind, since the players are in control, they too can experience character development within themselves. I'd like to talk about queer gameplay in this sense. Since games with revolutionary gameplay mechanics and storytelling mechanics offer non-linear storylines, it gives those players a choice. And those choices matter. With those choices comes consequences, and it's up to the players to interpret what to do with those consequences. Hence the queer gameplay aspect. It doesn't shift linearly, it doesn't go down a straight road. It could branch off to many different things. And based on that, the story can be created by the player itself. But since this player is actually playing in the story and actually doing everything that the protagonist does, that player can experience the same character development that the protagonist can feel too. Again, going back to the concept of choices here, the story revolves around the choices of the players. And the freedom of making those choices can affect the storyline heavily. Now, some players can just speedrun the game. However, they're not going to put in the effort to truly accomplish the overall goal of the game that the game developers anticipated them to accomplish. In some games, speedrunning can include choosing the violent path, because sometimes violence is the easier way to accomplish the entire storyline. But with violence comes a negative consequence of becoming dishonorable. With those consequences of their actions, players can just think to themselves, is this worth it? Is it worth killing all those people just to rush through this one story mission? Or, what could have been different if I chose to go the pacifist route? That's where the correlation between the character arc of the protagonist of the game translates to the character development of the players themselves. Not only do they have to face their consequences in a moral sense, they would also miss out on the opportunities on witnessing essential pieces of the plot. Now, with honorable decisions such as going the pacifist route, taking that extra step to become more careful, to become the greater person in the story, those players would reflect upon those positive consequences and think to themselves, man, maybe I should act like this in real life. Maybe I should become more honorable. That's how games can have the power to affect the behavior of their player bases. And one great example of a game that has that power is Red Dead Redemption 2.
RDR2 was released in 2018 by Rockstar Games. It is the third entry in the Red Dead series and a prequel to the 2010 release. The plot takes place in 1900 in the Midwestern and Southern United States, and you play as a protagonist, Arthur Morgan. Arthur is a member of the Vanderlyn gang as he must try to survive against government forces and rival gangs while progressing through the story that follows the previous game protagonist and fellow gang member, John Marston. The game features an open-world design with a wanted honor system and multi-dimensional storyline filled with queer mechanics. Therefore, the player is able to make choices that will produce consequences to their own character development and are able to learn from them.
Red Dead Redemption 2 has something called an honor system. What is an honor system? In Red Dead Redemption 2, honor can not only affect the ending of the game but also different cutscenes throughout the story. In Red Dead, doing things that cause the player to lose honor is the easier way to play the game. However, that defeats the purpose of Arthur redeeming himself. Honorable choices can range from letting a small fish go to helping people, while dishonorable choices go from killing or stealing. How does honor affect the ending? If the player's honor is low, an NPC called Mika will shoot the player in the face. If the player's honor is high, then Arthur would lie peacefully looking at a sunset. How does honor affect the environment? Honor can and will affect how NPCs think of you. If you have high honor, the game will think highly of and say good things about Arthur after he dies, while having low honor will cause the gang to say some disrespectful things.
Since Red Dead Redemption 2 is a prequel, decisions players make don't change Arthur's fate, but his process through it. Committing crimes allows faster progression by offering better and instantaneous loot. However, acting honorably in the game can provide better deals and progressions of certain quests. Red Dead Redemption tests a player's actions and rewards them with different outcomes. The true ending can be achieved by saving John Marston in the FNADE, and by doing so, the game rewards you by giving an opportunity of pumping undead to their pet Micah. Even in the FNADE, much of the game leans to player choice and presents many outcomes. Like other games with morality systems, such as Dishonored and Undertale, violence serves as a storytelling tool to highlight honorable and dishonorable deeds, and its effects on people and the world.
In Red Dead Redemption 2, there are also consequences that affect character development. This is mainly facilitated through the honor and dishonor system. So when you do dishonorable deeds, it results in a pessimistic and aggressive Arthur. Honorable deeds result in Arthur acknowledging he's not perfect and seeking redemption.
But I know you.
You don't know me.
Forgive me, but that's the problem. You don't know you.
What do you mean?
I don't know, but whenever we happen to meet, you're always helping people and smiling.
Arthur's development translates to the development of the player, since he is the embodiment of their personality, as well as all the actions that they have taken throughout the course of the game. Consequences make players reflect on their choices, since it simulates what would have happened to them if they were in a similar situation as Arthur. It encourages the player to seek redemption in the end.